Hi, everyone. Good morning and welcome. Good morning to our panelists as well. It's nice to have
Good
you.
morning. Okay, the mic is
Um,
working.
oh, it's afternoon. So we're going to be kickstarting today's conversation with a really interesting topic, which is Afro-innovation. We're going to be looking at how our culture is driving the next wave of creative businesses. A way that I've seen culture drive the creative space, a more prominent way has been Afrobeats for me. Would you guys agree that in the last couple years, Afrobeats has gone from just being about music to now being about exporting our culture through music, through fashion, through our language, and all of those other things. So I'm really curious as to what our panelists, have to say about Afro-innovation and its expression in other creative contexts. So I know we have a brand strategist amongst us. We have an artist. We have a product manager as well. So I'm really curious, in your own context and in your practice, in what you do, how would you define Afro-innovation? If you hear Afro-innovation, what comes to mind? Starting with Opeyemi.
I was praying that I wasn't going to be the first person to start. Afro innovation, sometimes I'm really skeptical about Afro anything. I just feel like we should just be whatever we want to be and not need to be Afro anything. However, when you look at it with what Afrobeats have done, there's everybody now claiming something, even in the music. Some say they are Afrofusion, some say they
Exactly.
are Afro Juju. Like there are a lot of things around it, and I think that even though I am very skeptical about adding Afro to anything, we are at a point where at no point in time has Africa led from the front when it comes to anything,
Yeah.
right? In tech, we are coming from behind. In industrialization, we are coming from behind. But now in creativity, it looks as if we are coming from the front, right? And so I feel like that distinction now helps us to be able to carve a niche for ourselves. And that is where I begin to see it differently and feel like, okay, if we want to, it's just that these days everything is now Afro something, right? And so maybe sometimes it dilutes the importance of whatever it is. But I feel like anything that helps you to hone in on your identity without losing plot of the global community is something strong that you should hold on to, right? So what it does for me, and when I look at it from brands, is that I'm building from the world, but I'm for the world, but I'm not forgetting where I'm from, right? So my work is still solid, there's still excellence, but I strongly feel like everything I do, the quality of my work is a reflection of a large set of people. And so as I build and as I do, without calling it Afro anything, there is that sense of it that this thing has to be able to compete when it is dropped in the midst of anything that is
Wherever
done
in the
anywhere in the
world.
world.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Opeyemi, for that response. I'd like to go to Alex. We've heard from Opeyemi on the brand side. For you as an artist, what comes to mind when you hear Afro innovation, and what does that look like in your context?
Hello, everybody. Good morning. I think
But no, no.
What's going on?
personally, as an artist, I think that it is very important to put it out there that you said something about putting Afro this like you don't like, but I feel like it's important to put that Afro there because in my space, it's been hard for artists to really get out there. I paint, I don't sing, that type of artist. So it's been hard for artists to really put themselves on like the same level as, other white European artists. You always have to probably do something maybe outside the box to really put your name there. And lately with Afro Innovation, I think the next oil for Nigeria is creativity.
Yeah.
So that's why everybody is putting in their culture into something. And because, of course, people that colonized us, they love our stuff, they love our art, they love it, they steal from us. So I think now it's time that we own it more. We put it out there that we're the owners, and we need to come not just on the vibes of, oh, Afro this, Afro that, where we need to be intentional about it. We need to be intentional about putting ourselves out there with the whole Afro. So in art space, more people are painting black people more. Like personally, I'm painting black people more to show our beauty, show our culture. People do a lot of different things. I went to an exhibition recently, and there was this particular piece where the girl had put in sand to represent her Igbo farmland. And there were also some other artists as well that were representing their culture as well. So I think like that.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. That's great. I'm loving the varied perspective already. And I would really like us to listen, because after they're done speaking, we'll also be taking questions from our audience. But very quickly, I'd like to hear from Good Luck as well. In your own world as a product manager, what do you think Afro-innovation means, and what does it look like?
Well, when we talk about Afro-innovation, relating it to product management, we need to look at the fact that we had the industrial age and Africa was lacking behind, and then we went to information age, we were trying to catch up, and now we're in the social age. And I think fairly we could say that we're actually playing the game in the social age. And one of the issues is about platforms. One thing that drives creativity is that it's platforms. You have your art, you have your music, but then you need a platform to be able to push it out there to your audience, to the world. And most times, the challenge we have is that in Africa, you have most creators or creatives not being compensated for their work adequately. You have the issue of piracy and the rest of. So for us, when I look at Afro-innovation, I'm looking at how we can come about with mobile applications, digital products that could help Africans to be able to push out their artwork, their creative work, and get compensated fairly for it. And I think we're lacking behind in this. I think of recent, we had, when Netflix said they were going to stop supporting content creators, you could see that the movie industry was a bit moved because, of course, there were some back channel conversations that we were privy to, because we're working on an app back then to be able to replace that. But though there are challenges, but you could see that for innovation in products, I think we're working on it. We're not yet there. We're working on it. We don't really control the channels.
Yeah.
But I believe tech in Africa is actually growing, and you're having more people get into the tech system, into AI and the rest. So I believe over time, we'll get it right.
Improve.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Thank you for your contributions. Isaac, who would like to have your thoughts as well?
It's not working. I was trying to do the deep voice, but it's not working. It's trying to act like. Okay, so I think Afro-innovation would just be that dreaming in black. And from the concept of understanding that we have to own our stories and be able to look at the common problems that are happening here in Africa and then innovate through that lens. I know that if you listen to conversations around Silicon Valley and how people raise a lot of money for startups, you hear people raising money for. So there's a person that I listened to that raised money, that sold a business for $96 million, and she sold a product of how to manage the behavior of cats.
Oh, wow.
I was like, but that's not a problem peculiar to us.
Yeah.
I think if you even sell that kind of thing, you have to sell it in Benin, where cats are more. I apologize if you're a Benin person. Yeah, I really apologize. But I'm just saying that we have our own culture and problems that are very unique to us. And as creatives, it is time to rise and understand that it is time to look inwards and understand the kind of peculiar tradition. And so it's to build products that are deeply rooted in our culture, but global. And now is the time. I tell people always that Africa is the youngest continent. Over 60% of us are under 25. And that means that the future is now. I mean, do you understand? Every other culture is older than us. Every culture is older than us. We're the youngest. Do you get? And so what that gives us is time and advantage. And now is the time to innovate in black, right? Through your culture, innovate and listen to problems that are very peculiar to us. Just coming here today to this event, I'm sure if you think deeply, you will have found a couple of things that have been a roadblock. And now begin to think of how you can innovate in your culture so that people can buy into it. So that's it for me.
Thank you very much. Thank you. A round of applause for our panelists. Thank you. Thank you for your contributions. So what I'm hearing is that we have to own our story and define how we want to show up to the world. So very quickly, I'll come back to Opeyemi. You work with brands and businesses. How is culture shaping how we tell our stories? How businesses and brands tell their stories?
I'm going to start with something he said. And immediately he said it, I clocked it. When he said that at one point they were stealing it. And I just wrote down that when we have now owned it, now they can't steal it again. They have to ask for it because we have owned it. At one point, because it wasn't owned, it was easy to steal. But now that we are owning it, now they know that for them to get it, they have to come into a transaction, right? At one point, because if, for example, you want Burna Boy at your events in the FIFA World Cup, guy, you have to pay. If you want Ashoke, now you have to pay. You cannot just appropriate a culture now without having that conversation around value exchange. Yes, now it's still very skewed because a lot of the people that are supposed to be exchanging those value currently do not understand how to have those conversations. And I think that maybe one of the panels is going to tackle that because, again, there are Afro-plenty things, but there are very few people who are making money from Afro-plenty things. So when I say plenty things, you could make it fashion, you could make it music, and a lot of other things. But when you talk about what you mentioned and said brands, I think globally now the conversation is around any sector or section that has been owned can be paid for, right? And when you look at it that way, you bring it home, and tech is already driving a lot of things on the continent. Conversations are happening. But for what he said, the lover boy, a beloved doctor, when he said that Africa is the youngest population, at Senegal, over 60% of their population is less than 20 years. Right? Africa generally, over 45 to 50% of our population is less than 35. We're currently the youngest population in the world and still the one with more kids growing. Every other continent is reducing in birth rates. Africa is increasing in birth rates. Right? Which means that there is a large population of young people who want to connect to stuff. And the older people are growing older and leaving their companies for younger people. So now we can say Gen Z or millennials don't have money, but in the next 20, 30 years, those companies are going to be owned by their kids. Those businesses are going to be run by their kids, so they will now have money. If you have not done or built something that connects with them, it means that the sustainability of your business is in doubt. It just means that maybe in the next 10, 20 years, you may not have someone to sell to, right? And that's why a lot of brands are introducing, and I mean, one of the biggest people, which is where I'm just going to stop, and I'm going to use music because music is one place that has cracked it, right? I think I was speaking with my wife a couple of days back, and we're having a conversation around the fact that Don Jazzy has been relevant across multiple generations. At one point, he had D'banj. He finished D'banj because D'banj may not be able to connect to the next generation. Then he had another category of guys. He had Tiwa Savage, Korede Bello, and a whole couple of other people. He finished that generation, then he went to another generation, right? That had Johnny Drill, Ladipo, and a lot of other people. Now he's done with that generation. He's on another generation that has Aya Star, Rema, Bayani, and I'm almost certain that in the next 5, 10 years, that guy is going to bring another set of people that are maybe 15, 20 years. Because again, sustainability is defined by how much you can connect to the people coming next.
Thank you very much. You touched on 2 things. You touched on the commercialization of, our culture, exporting our culture and everything. You also touched on a bit on structure when you referenced how the people that are supposed to be commercializing, the exportation of our culture are not properly able to have that conversation. So my question is actually directed at Isaac, and it's based off Opeyemi's response. How do you think creatives or creative businesses can structure their business and make it profitable?
First of all, with God, all things are possible. To have God. So I think that some of the conversations that I have over time with creatives is that it's one thing to be creative, it's one thing to understand the business of creating what you're creating. I don't know if that makes sense. Business education for anything is important. You cannot be stuck up in you trying to create and not have the necessity that you need to create, which is actual business. You need to understand that regardless of what you're doing, you're trying to make money regardless, right? You're trying to understand, you're trying to structure. So if you get business education, the first thing that will do to you is that it will help you understand what your beachhead is, what's your low-hanging fruit, what you need to push. There are some things you probably need to focus on instead of doing 2 years of R&D, something that will give you cash immediately, like that. So, but in terms of structuring your business, I think the first thing is having business education. Second thing is understanding the need for collaboration. It's a thing that Africans lack. We want to build everything on our own. You're creative, but you can't sell. You're creative, but you can't market or build your taxes well. You're creative, but you don't know how to speak.
Can't do your financial.
Right? I know a lot of great music guys that if they walk into a room, I think that Burna Boy is socially awkward. I think so. I think he's socially awkward. I think that now that he has great success, maybe everybody looks at him in the room. But before, if you walk into a room, Burna Boy, he's by the corner. He's not necessarily talking to you, right? But he will not close deals like that.
Yeah.
But if you find somebody that's a manager that can have that conversation for you, so collaboration, you need to, and what that would do is have a business person in your life, guys. It helps you with pricing, it helps you with structure, it helps you with what you need to do, your taxes. Now they'll take taxes from everybody January. I hope you're ready.
Yeah.
Because it's coming, right? So what you need to understand the people that have the right education to work with them. So collaboration is important as a creative. It's so important. It's better that you own 10% of $100 billion than 100% of nothing. Do you understand? So collaboration is important. Business education is also important. And then God, fast and pray. That's all. You get it right.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I guess the God factor is important. So now that we've talked about structure, how to mix structure, business, creativity without losing your spark, I think let's talk about commercialization. Is there anything as over commercializing your creativity or our culture, for example? And I want Alex to take that. What are the risks of over commercialization? Is there even anything like that?
There's nothing. There's nothing like that. If you do say something, he said sell your markets like it's pure water. And I think that's what you need to do, especially as Africans, because like I said earlier, we have been suppressed. We're just coming forward, and we're coming forward through, not even through like government and all that, we're coming forward through creativity. So there's no such thing as over commercialization. The pros outweigh the cons, in my perspective. The cons that I see is what these people may not understand the culture, what they may mispronounce a few words. There's nothing wrong with that. But as far as they know that you're there, and I feel like I said before, this creativity, it is the new oil. So he also said something about the structure. The structure makes us own it. if there's no structure, this is just going to be something that is just going to come and go. It's going to be like money. Money comes. Everybody at some point in your life, trust me, you are going to have some amount of money that you think that you would have never had. But if you are not prepared for it, if you don't have the mindset for that money at that point, you will spend it anyhow, it will be gone, and you'll be broke.
Yeah.
Opportunities come like that. This creativity is opportunity for us. We need to market, structure the hell out of it. Because if not, it's just going to go. It's just going to, and they want it to go. Do you understand? We're not like, nobody is supporting Africans. Do you understand? We're pushing ourselves out there. We need to push ourselves out there. They don't even want us to be like, because I feel like we're almost the best at mostly everything.
Yeah.
At almost everything. In arts, yes, we are. Music, yes. Fashion. The fashion industry I heard is worth about $31 billion. That was the first time I heard about it.
The Nigerian fashion industry?
If you look at, the Nigerian fashion industry, and it looks like it's not worth that much, but it is worth that much. Why? Because it's not out there. It's not being commercialized enough. I can't name, I can name like 5 Nigerian brands, but I can't name like 10 as it go, but everybody here knows Gucci, everybody here knows LV. Do you understand what I'm saying? There are brands in Nigeria that do way more crafted works than that. I'm an artist, so I like when people take their time, so I notice stuff like that. And then with this past fashion week, I saw a lot of creativity.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So, and we Africans, we work with colors a lot. So our stuff is not just like more perfectly made, it's more even beautiful. So if we don't structure it, push it out there,
sell it well,
it's just going to be something that is going to come and go. And let me just be honest, there are a lot of forces working against us being at world level, being global. So yes, while commercialization is good, obviously the more you grow, the more enemies that you get. I mean, simple is clear math.
That's why we need God.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we need God.
Exactly.
So I feel like we should over commercialize, but we should commercialize with a lot of structure.
Systems.
Yeah, we should commercialize with a lot of structure. If not, it's just going to come and it's going to go. Like, a lot of people even want Afrobeats to go. I don't know if you are noticing. There's all this propaganda of, oh, Afrobeats is not what it is. It's a lie. It's not coming from Nigeria. It's not coming from Africa. It's coming from outside. And Nigerian Twitter will pick it up, and you think that that's what's actually happening. But it's not happening. They're trying to reduce the value of our work, our artists. Burna Boy is bigger than a lot of European artists now. A lot of people are listening to Wizkid, a lot of people are listening to even Rema. So it's not these people, but now these people will not be paid as much as maybe one European artist at some certain concert that they are actually bigger than. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well,
and it's not just like Nigerians here, it also affects Nigerians in diaspora. Because I feel like the way they treat us abroad also reflects on the way they will treat you as an indigent African, someone that's staying here. So I feel we should over-commercialize with structure.
Thank you very much, Alex. Let's give Alex a round of applause, guys. So you touched on something now about how we tell stories, how we're not telling our stories properly, and all that. So I want Opeyemi to speak on that. How can creative businesses tell better stories to help them sell better and, become successful at what they do?
The problem is that you are looking to tell better stories. Just tell stories. Like, I feel like Africans second guess themselves a lot. And so we want it to look good before we push it out.
Yeah.
But then we see someone in the US, we do the same thing, we don't push it out. And people will buy it. And you feel like, and I was thinking it too, what are you thinking, right? I feel like we are as good as we think we are, but as a result of the fact that we have been subconsciously positioned to see ourselves differently, we really do not compete at the level that we are meant to compete. Right?
Now
things are even changing because, for example, you're seeing software developers from Nigeria compete and become senior staff engineers in global companies, right? You're seeing writers, you're seeing writers are competing in creativity, you're seeing fashion people compete. But again, he said something that really struck me. But when you talk about Gucci, you know, but when you talk about Sheyi Vodi, you can count the number of people that knows, right? And despite the fact that he just built something multi-billion naira in Abuja, I'm not sure there is a way you need to push yourself that the world self will not have option. And again, there's something that Burna Boy did that, I mean, I don't listen to him, I don't like him as much, but what he did at that point where they used small prints to write his name, that thing cascaded and scattered his career. You can say that a lot of things happened afterwards. But the fact that he was bold enough to request for stuff, to call stuff, people started viewing him, and now he has always been talented, but he was not known. Bro, there is nobody that has featured Burna Boy in the last 3 years that Burna Boy has not bodied the person in the person's song. In the person's own song. Like, Burna Boy has bodied in your own song globally. For anybody that has featured him internationally. Sam Smith, For Your Hand, it was Burna Boy on the song. Location, Dave, it was Burna Boy on the song. Dave again and Burna Boy, it was Burna Boy on the song, right? We now need a lot more Burna Boys across different spaces to stand their ground. So Burna Boy in fashion, talk your talk. If you make a mistake, they'll correct you on the talk. Burna Boy in tech, talk your talk. If you make mistakes, Shebi investor will say, I don't want this, I want this. You will learn how not to do it.
Yeah, and you'll be better for it.
I mean, I think one thing that we need to understand is that with the way technology has broken what things are now, the world is your stage, and Nigeria is not just your stage. Yes, you need some level of customers here to be able to prove the validity of your idea, but you do not need to stay when you have not even had customers. Get into the market and test what you have built. If you're like, people were shocked that this lady's designer for her native, Temi Otedola's designer for her native was not a Nigerian. And it was Ashoke proper. But the person who designed is not Nigerian. And you're shocked and you're ashamed of your Ashoke that, bruv.
Sorry. We need to move with audacity.
Yeah.
We need to move. Anything you're doing, you need to move with audacity. Like, you're already big. You're already how you want to be. And that's the only way that you would be how you want to be. Or if you don't move with audacity, especially as an African, they'll push you down too fast.
You do something that is good enough. You enter the room, they tell you it's not good.
Or they'll price your work at like.
What's the bromance going on here?
Maybe because we are feeling it, right?
It's something that I feel like I go through, personally.
I can feel you.
As an artist,
I can imagine.
Yeah, subconsciously, all Africans need to take the gate and open the door. If they don't give you seat, carry chair, come and sit on the table. What do you have for me, bro?
Guys, if you're gonna leave here with anything today, leave here with audacity. Have audacity today. So as we wrap up, Opeyemi again. So we see a lot of brands and businesses use slangs in their campaigns in recent time. Is that the innovation that we're talking about? How does that help them in any way?
No, it's not innovation. You use slang.
Exactly.
You can still be broke with slang. It's not anything. But one of the things that I think that brand storytelling is supposed to help you achieve is shared meaning. Shared meaning, shared context. And that is what sometimes slangs can help to do, right? So if I'm here now and I say, Mama, you do good, oh.
Everybody knows what
you give us Indomie. See, why? They can understand.
They
all
can
of
relate.
us have eaten Indomie, we can relate. And it's our mommy that used to buy Indomie for us when we were smaller. For those of us that are still young, I'm young, so yeah. So yeah. Or if I say money now waiting. You know, one time, I'm going to talk about this some other time. he's doing one in our time, and then a senior person who I respect so much came and say the value system is XYZ, and I'm like, fine. I mean, to a relative extent, the values are maybe flawed, but we need to understand the context of the markets that we function in. Most people are doing a lot of things for show. And it's because they know that you need to light yourself on fire for people to come and see. And that is what some of those slangs usually get to do, right? Because now those slangs have like a faster way to become something that people can lash onto, right? At one point, it was we rise by lifting others. There are like so many slangs now that have passed and moved across. What I'm trying to say is slangs in itself is not anything around like innovation, but usually for things to become more mainstream, you leverage shared meanings or things that can create context. If I say money na water now, all of you have something that is going to come to your head because there's a unified meaning that has scaled.
Yes.
If I say mama, you do good, all of you have because there's a unified meaning that has scaled. Right? So when we talk about innovation, there should be something else behind the scene that is driving up the conversation. There should be some form of value. There should be some form of excellence that is like really important. And if that is done, innovation sometimes rides on waves, right? But innovation in itself is not the wave. So if you now fail and focus on the wave, what will happen is that when the wave passes, your innovation will lose steam. Right? So, yes, there are a lot of things that can be leveraged across the board with language, with culture, with dressing, with food, and a whole lot of other things. But it is important that you build your product or you build your brand on substance and not fads. Because fads will sometimes not last the test of time, right? Some of them do, because everywhere you go, you say, "Banana." When did that start? A long time ago, right? However, but again, it's shared meanings. If you are able to create shared meanings, then you have been able to create something that is sustainable. And because I usually tell people that people see in stories, and where we have stories that people can insert themselves into and become actors, then you have built something solid. And I think that's what Piggyvest hacked. That's what Cowrywise at the point hacked. And a couple of other brands. Money Point is doing a good job in that regards at the moment. And if you're building something solid, one of the things I think you should do is to try to establish shared meanings beyond just your product. Your product is going to go. Whatever you're selling is going to come and go. It could even evolve. But you need to create shared meanings that connect the people that you are serving to what you represent. So that even when there's trouble, they'll come and defend you because they feel like, something must have happened.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that context. My next question will go to Alex. Now that there's a bit of global attention on artists, innovation, creativity, all of these talks, one second. Do you think it's changing or having any effect on how you create as an artist or how artists create generally? And what's the effect of that?
I feel like, yes, it would affect. I mean, global recognition can either, make you shine. I mean, it's light. It can make you shine or it can blind you. So I feel you need to stick to what is you, to what is authentic. Whatever you started with, that was what got you to the point that you are. Yes, you would need to tweak and, rearrange, but your core should always remain. That is you. That is your authenticity.
Sorry to cut you very quickly there. How do you now balance your core, versus what the market expects from you?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Your authenticity is what the market really wants. We're in the age of social media. Mm-hmm. For you to blow on, I don't create content like that because I feel it is very performative. It turns you into a performative person. Everybody wants you to do something out of the blue, like something very crazy to get a couple of likes and all that. Mm-hmm. So you can become what they want you to be. Like if this guy sets himself on fire now, all of you here record it it will blow now, it will go viral.
Yeah.
If it's on his page, you will have like 1 million likes. So are you saying that the next time that you want to get 1 million likes, you have to set yourself on fire again? You just be doing stuff. That's why if you are going to get somewhere, you have to stay authentic to yourself. How do you do that and combine with global attention and all that? It's simple. Take your own stuff, study what makes other people, like what attracts other people, what makes them, then try and imbibe it a little. And if you can't imbibe it into whatever it is that you're doing, then don't. Keep doing exactly what you're doing. Sorry, I don't want to curse, but the world can go to hell. Just do what you're doing. I know it sounds, let me say cliche, stick to yourself, but it's the truth. It is the truth. The world will come and meet you. The world was here before you, it will be here after you. So it will come and meet you at where you are.
Yes.
If this is what you're doing, maybe you're a chef and you have decided you only want to make African dishes. You don't want to make international dishes. Make your amala. Make it the best amala. And go into where they are serving all these international dishes. And be proud. And proudly place your amala there as it's hot and serve it with audacity. That's the only way. I don't know, because in my art, in my own practice, because I don't put any European, I don't paint like that. Most of all this, they're abstract works and all this. I don't do that. I paint black people because we're beautiful. I paint black people. I paint black people in different ways. For some artwork, I make black people colored to show emotions, like different colors and all of that. Doesn't mean that you can still tell that that is a black person. If you see my work, I think some of my works will be showing outside. But if you see, you'll still be able to tell that that's a black person. Because I want to stay authentic to painting Africans. Most of growing up, most of the paintings that I saw were white people. They were all, oh, this white person is a great artist. Like, there was little to no African representation that I could get on. And even the ones that I saw that I could get on, I didn't feel like they were good enough because of how well the European art had been commercialized. Before I heard about Ben Ewonu and all the other great Nigerian artists, it took a while before I could even get familiar with their work. Like, oh, this is a great artist. It took a while. So it boils down to also what we're saying here. We should commercialize, move with audacity. That's the only way. And don't try, if you can't imbibe, if there's no space to put what other people like into what if you don't feel it making sense in your work, then don't do it.
Then don't add it.
Stick to yourself.
I
the
hope
world will come and meet you where you. The world, every great person in the world has come to meet them where they are. This guy that is blowing up now, Mavo, I checked all his songs. The guy has been singing the same way. He has been singing. He did not change for anything. He has been singing the same way. Davido too, the same thing. All these artists, they are still singing in their pidgin. Rema is still going in pidgin that even Nigerians don't understand. And he's selling abroad. So, forget the world. They will come and meet you where you are. As long as you are moving with audacity. If you are not moving with audacity, like one swag like this, they go like, that means you don't even believe in like the shit that you're doing. Do you understand? You don't believe in yourself. That means why should I now? Why would the world come and
other
meet you?
people believe in you?
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
do what you want to do. Be authentic to yourself first, and then try and be the best version of yourself. That's the only thing. That's the only way you can even be good at anything that you're doing. Once you feel like you're the best version of yourself, then you are going to be as great as anybody that ever lived.
A round of applause, guys. Thank you, Alex. Thank you. I will end with Isaac. So for small creative businesses that don't have big budgets, how can they use culture to stand out and still keep their focus?
Great stuff. I was just hailing my guy, Mr. Tamura. Okay. For small businesses, how can they use culture to stand out?
Yes.
I think boils down to what was said before in terms of identity and understanding that where you are at, the world will meet you there. And then, just if you build something so unique, it's important that first you get your uniqueness of whatever you're building. Don't just build, and don't build because of other people are building. If you go to business school, they'll tell you that there are different kinds of businesses where that functions. There's the blue ocean and there's a red ocean. So a red ocean is where people are already thriving, and you can just get, and the blue ocean is where you are the only maverick there. And so my advice to people would always be that find what works for you, whether it's blue ocean, whether it's red ocean, but find what works for you and find it in a very unique way where you yourself, and you can speak to a couple of people, understand what your competitive advantage is, and then run your ideas. So I run a startup called Bubblegum Health, which is reproductive health of women, like in Nigeria and Africa. And I promise you that when I started to conceive that idea, I would speak to a lot of people. I mean, of us, do this thing when they ask you, what's your business? You say, let's sign an NDA first. Are you the first person to have business? Leave that thing, right? Have conversation, validate your product, speak to people in expert fields and say, what I'm building, am I crazy, right? And yes, it's good to have audacity, but validate over time. Now, validating, there's something called a mom's test. What a mom's test does is you would actually speak about what anybody in that field is going through, like real pain and consistent behavior. So if you want to have a conversation, for example, say you want to build a product that gives people access, queuing system, let's say for this hall, right? If you want to run a mom's test, if you go to your family members or a friend around you and tell the person, I have this product for queuing people, will you use it? They'll tell you yes now, because they're trying to appeal to your emotions. But if you go to that same person and tell the person, hi, when you go for events, what do you use? Do you get tired when you stand on the queue? What happens? Do you walk out of the event? And then when they begin to tell you what the real behavior is for that particular problem, you are able to refine what you're building. So stay stubborn with the vision, but flexible with the approach. Understand what you're building. Speak to people about it. When they tell you about it, when we started Bubblegum, it was man and woman. Now it's only a woman. And we are refining it as it is, as the day comes by. Single Lagosians was a talk show. Now it's party. And Noble. Do you understand? It's two things. But the idea is you would find what works as you grow, and then never be scared to collaborate. At Bubblegum Health, first month, we already have integrated into over 1,000 pharmacies and 10 female doctors. As it goes by, we will share money and collaborate. It's important because the more people are working with you, the more it gets better, the more word of mouth. People can have conversations about your product. The more you validate what you're building. Up to midnight yesterday, I met a random private equity investment banker at a coffee shop, and he was tackling me about the product, and I was able to, speak deeply, and I was able to get advice from him also, and that's how you, validate and scale. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, guys. A round of applause for our panelists. Right about now, we would be taking questions, so we can only take 2 questions. Does anyone have any questions for our panelists before they get off the stage? Do we have any questions? Yes. Can somebody help us with the mic? Please, very quickly, take your question.
Hello. Anyways, I want to talk about the reality of these Afro-first stuffs. Like, in African homes in general, it's not validated there. You can't just tell your mom that, oh, I want to become like an artist when I grow up, or a musician, or stuff like that. So that is the problem we have now. You can't just be what you want to be. Most times they want you to become lawyers, doctors, and stuff like that.
So what's your question?
In general. I don't know, I'm just saying.
So you just had a comment? You were just
I
adding to the conversation?
I think I understand the question, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Because that's an issue that I've dealt with for a couple of years as an artist who paints, not even like sings or anything. I don't know. my father is something. Let's just put it like that. So I understand what you're trying to say. I feel like for issues like that, you should, your parents are the ones that are going to be there to say, oh, congratulations. And if you fail, they are the ones that are going to be there to tell you, Shebi, I told you. So at the end of the day, it is your life. Yes, listen to your parents until you are 15 years old. After you are 15, please do what you want with your life. If it fails, it fails. That's why I say you have to move with audacity. If you're saying you need your parents, that means you're not ready yet. Stay in your parents' house. Listen to don't chase your dreams. Your parents do not even have opportunity to chase their dreams. That's why they will not support your dreams. It will be difficult for them to support.
Okay.
But if you know, say you get the mind,
You're angry.
and
Alex,
Yeah, very. I just.
but if you know, say you get the mind, Baba,
chill
leave your I'm very, very serious because you don't even know how bad I deal with that as an artist. So leave your
wanna
parents
respond
to
to
one
that?
side, let them talk. They will come and see you. I had an exhibition in April. I invited them. They're like, oh, wow, well done. Seeing your work here, really. But before, see, you're putting paint here, paint here, paint. I can't even work like sanely in the house. I can't work sanely in the house. I could not. So you leave your parents at one side. That should not be an equation in your journey. Like, they've done their own life. Sure, you understand.
I don't even know how to respond to that. But,
However,
Isaac,
however.
please help.
So let me just give you a starter pack to, bloom in this area. First of all, whatever career that you choose, make sure you get enough information about it well. Don't just go because your friend is doing something.
Vibes.
Yes, I know a lot of guys are making a lot of money in animation, but don't do it if you don't know how to draw. Or you're not ready to learn how to draw. I don't know if that makes sense.
You're not
So
interested.
the first thing is get knowledge. And then the next thing is find your road to money. Find it, because at the end of the day, whatever you are doing, if you're able to, an African parent, if you're able to bring and show that your life
Value.
is getting better by what you're doing,
Monetary
they validate
value.
it. You understand? The hack I used to do when I was, when I started, I wanted to do something about love. My father was like, how? Come and be a soldier. I said, no, I have big stomach. That's conversation on that day. But you get my point. But when I would go out, I would buy bread. You understand? I'll buy fish. I buy turkey. Then I bought turkey. He said, And then one day I said, I'm moving out. Which day? How? Which money do you have? I said, and one day I took him to an apartment. He said, you have this? I said, he said, you have, you even dash me money. My point is, find the road to money. In business school, they'll tell you, what's your road to 10 million? Find the road to money. Get a lot of information. Don't just do it as a hobby. A lot of creatives are soaked into hobby. It's not a hobby. Yes, it's an hobby, but turn that passion to profit. Understand the road to it, and then show progress over time. Even your father will know that before you were drawing this way, now you are drawing better. Now you are getting more collaborations, and then you can afford this. So that works.
Thank you so much. Do we have any question? One more. We can only take one more. The lady in white. Ooh, okay, sorry. Let's take a guy. Let's have a guy. Yes, please. And that will be our last question. No, that's a guy.
Hi. So my question is for the strategist. Sorry. So I'm a designer, and there's this thing where people do where they show up without strategy, right? And I just wanted to get your opinion on how to keep a brand on brand, right? Aside the visuals and all that, like both for like companies and a personal brand.
That's a difficult question, but again, that's why I exist and that's how I make money. I'm going to just start from the other person. Yes, there's audacity that you should leave house, but again, very important, find your road to money, and sometimes you need to do some things before you begin to do the real thing. Don't just lose the plot. Because I had to add that to like the whole conversation, especially for creatives. Sometimes just be alive. Money is coming in the front. Then to your question, I strongly feel like strategy as a profession or as a section in the country is evolving. Not a lot of people know it yet. I think for the agency I used to work in before I branched out, we started offering strategy in 2019. And it was because I started doing strategy. And they now said, Omo, you're doing this, so yeah, come and do it for us in the business. So what we now did was, before any design, before we lift any finger to do a design, I must have worked on that project for at least 6 weeks, right? Because my own job is to think through who we are, what we do, core values, tone of voice, personality, and every other thing around the substance that the visuals is supposed to represent. What you can now do, if someone comes to you and just tells you to go straight to visual, maybe what you now need to learn is now how to negotiate to bring the person first back to strategy, because what happens more often than not if you go into design without strategy or brand strategy is that there are a lot of questions on the product. Everybody, I feel like, will now be the answer of the design. And this thing does not work. Why? Because there is no substance on which the design is being built on, right? It's a conversation that you need to learn how to maximize, to learn how to bring people back, possibly partner with people who do strategy, but just speaking to everybody generally, especially if you want to begin to do business or do anything. We have a lot of people, marketing is something that everybody does in the country now, but very few people understand that marketing is supposed to communicate a substance. That's why we have brands that are popular and viral, and in the next 6 months to 1 year, sometimes 13 months, they do not exist anymore. Or you do marketing and people come after the marketing and say, hey, so what does this product do? But you downloaded. That means there was no substance in your messaging, right? I mean, so, and that's what we need to continue to do and build on.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Please, a round of applause to our panelists. Thank you, everyone. I believe we've all been able to, take something away from this conversation. Thank you to everyone that joined in. And yes, bye guys. Thank you.